Part 1. April 19th, 1983. I was sitting on a bench in the park eating a prawn sandwich and flicking crumbs off my jumper. The late April sunshine was warm on my face, and the ducks on the river busied themselves with their young. It was my lunch break, and, as usual, I was eating alone. My colleagues from Woolworths all went to a trendy sandwich bar together. I preferred being outside, watching the birds. Cambridge is lovely at that time of year. I often spend my breaks sitting by the river on Jesus Green. When he sat down at the other end of the bench, his hands tucked into his brown coat pockets, I moved away from him, right to the edge. I didn't look up and avoided eye contact. We sat silently for a while. I fed the ducks and swans the crusts left over from my sandwich. A cocky swan lifted itself out of the water and came padding over, wagging its clean white tail feathers in a show of disapproval. The large bird came so close to me it was able to take the bread right out of my hand. The man on the bench next to me chuckled to himself, amused by the swan's bravado.
"Break your arm if you're not careful," he piped up.
I stayed silent, too shy to respond. When the bird realised I had no more food to offer, it turned and plodded back to the river, the ducks scattering to get out of its way as it returned to join its mate.
"Most people like the swans best, but I like ducks,"
he spoke again. Me too. I felt him turn and look at me.
"Swans think they're all that, kings of the river. Pushy buggers, if you ask me."
He took his hands out of his pockets and placed them on his knees. I tried to sneak a look at him in my peripheral vision. Yes.
"I've seen you around. You're always feeding the birds."
I like watching them. Finally, I turned my face to look at him. He had a nice smile, broad and open, with small dimples in his cheeks. His mid-brown hair was thick and wavy around his square face. He reminded me of George Michael from Wham. His dark chocolate eyes were smiling at me. He was very handsome, and I felt myself blush.
"I'm Larry,"
he said, still smiling and extending his hand.
"It's nice to meet you."
I rubbed my hands together quickly to make sure I didn't have mayonnaise on them before shaking his. Deborah. My cheeks felt hot.
"Do you work nearby?"
His eyes were searching mine, and I didn't know where to look. Not far, in Woolworths on Sydney Street. I fumbled with the brown paper bag my sandwich came in and folded it into the smallest possible square, pushing out the creases with my thumbs.
"I'm doing my training at the Optician's in the centre. Rooks. Do you know it?"
"I think so," I said, lying.
"You have very pretty eyes," he said, as he got up from the bench and plunged his hands back into his pockets. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing and focused my attention on the rowers who were passing by. "Sorry, didn't mean to embarrass you."
"You didn't." I tried to sound relaxed.
"Well, I need to get back to work now. My boss is a bit of a slave driver. Maybe I'll see you around, Deborah."
"Sure, I need to get going too." I checked my wristwatch and got up, brushing the fine evidence of crumbs from my indigo tights.
"I hope so,"
he said with a smile, before turning around and walking away down the path. I stood, watching as his frame grew smaller and smaller, and the distance between us widened. No one had ever given me a compliment like that before. I hoped our paths would cross again soon.